So Swahili is now the official language of the African Union. And you see, I think it's a good thing and it supports Pan-Africanism. But I know that a lot of Africans are not going to be happy about this. A lot of Nigerians might not be happy about this. But when you look at how many people in Africa speak Swahili, I mean, according to UNESCO, there are over 200 million people that speak Swahili. Then you look at the numbers for Hausa, it's like around 70 million. When you look at the numbers for Yoruba, it's about 60 million. So it's clear that Swahili is a much more wide-spoken language. And also, the language isn't defined by religion, right? It's not predominantly it's not like tied to any religion. People that speak Swahili are of, different countries. It's like literally, different countries, different religions, different everything. And so I think the diversity of it, and the fact that it's a language that has been used to trade for a long time, hundreds of years, makes it that much more prominent. And also it's a mainstream language. Like, I went to Tufts University and they taught Swahili at Tufts. They teach Swahili in apparently over 100 universities in the US and around the world. And these are like prestigious schools that are teaching Swahili. Then also let's talk about the fact that Swahili is in everything, is in mainstream culture, from Hakuna Matata in The Lion King. That's Swahili. It means no worries. Simba, that's a Swahili, it means lion, right? So many different mainstream cultural things is in Swahili. Jenga, the game Jenga, that's Swahili, and it means build. So it's an international language. It's recognized globally. It's taught in universities around the world. And apparently it's an easy language to learn, so it makes sense. And here's the thing, even though it's the main language of the African Union, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, we're still going to when you're in the African Union, which I've been in there, you're still going to get your personal headsets. You're still going to get translators and your personal headsets, and you're going to know what they're saying in your language anyway. So it doesn't matter what language is spoken, because you're still going to get a translator so you can understand it. But I think the importance of having an African language be the common language in Africa is to move away from the colonized mindset, to move away from the colonizers. Right now, when you think about Africa, the predominant languages are English, which is like Anglophone countries, Francophone countries, French, and then Portuguese countries. So that's how we're all still speaking the colonizers' language, right? And I think the importance is for African pride and African unity is for us to speak the same languages. And the way that we then start working towards Pan-Africanism, we start working towards trading with each other, fixing our trade ties. Because when you think about the way Africa was built, it was built to export out of Africa. So we don't really have strong inter-African trading systems. And that's what I think African Union is really trying to build. And that's what we need to build on the continent to improve everything in Africa, right? We need to learn how to trade with ourselves. We need to learn how to build with ourselves. And it helps when we all speak the same language. It doesn't help that next door to Nigeria, the people are speaking French. On the other side, they're speaking Cameroon is half French, half English. It doesn't help that the next English-speaking country is Ghana, which is like how many countries away from us in Nigeria? So it creates this division when we're all separated through language. And even within Nigeria, we're separated. Like, fair enough, we speak English, but there's a lot of tribalism when it comes to people that, depending on where you're from in Nigeria, or are you Hausa, are you Yoruba, are you Igbo? That tribalism does not help us. So I think creating this unity, one African language that is the most commonly spoken language, is very important in helping and pushing Pan-Africanism forward. When it comes down to it, there's a lot of pride around language, but I think that we need to look at the Europeans and how they're responding to Ukraine we need to take that as like an example of how we should treat our own. There's nobody that can say that Europeans are not tribalistic. I mean, look at Brexit, look at Ireland separating from the UK, you know, even just like the UK on its own and the tribalism between English, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. There's tribalism there. In Russia and Ukraine, that's tribalism, right? So at the end of the day, in Europe, tribalism still prevails, right? It still prevails, but at the end of the day, they're unified by their ideals. That's what unifies them, right? And that ideal is democracy. That ideal is freedom. And I think when it comes to Africa, we don't have a set of ideals that unify us, right? We don't have a set of ideals that unify us. And instead of us to think about freedom and democracy, and I don't know if that should be that's what I believe in. I believe in freedom, but I don't think that's the general consensus on the African continent, believing in freedom. But more to that, the only thing that I see that unifies Africa is greedy politicians that are ruling, thinking about themselves and how they can extract from the continent as much as they can and not actually building the continent. So I think that if we find a set of terms that works towards Africa's progression, right, and unity, and we use that to stand together, that's what is really going to put us in a position like Europe to support Ukraine. Like if, when you think about what the Europeans are doing for Ukraine, we're not doing that we're not doing that in Somali. We're not doing that, you know, in Cameroon where there's war. In fact, in Cameroon, they're fighting against themselves. So if we can figure out how to be unified by a set of principles, the same way the Europeans are unified by freedom, and I think freedom is a good way to go. But if we could find that and use that to unify us, then it will go beyond our tribe, our race, our, you know, culture, our language. We have a set of principles, and at the end of the day, we can still speak different languages. But when you think about Europe, the unifying language is English. At the end of the day, even though they all speak their own languages, it's English. And when you go to the EU, there's still going to be translators, you know, still going to be translators speaking in whatever language is yours. So we need to figure out a way to do that for Africa. So number one, yes, it's a great thing that Swahili is the language of the African Union, and it should be taught in university, in schools all over Africa. I mean, if they're teaching that at Tufts University and teaching that in the US, they should be teaching that in Africa, right? All schools should be speaking Swahili, I think so. So number one, yes, unified by language. Number two, we need to be unified by principles that we believe that will help the progression of Africa. And I think freedom is a good one. But again, that's a Western ideal. So Africans will have to sit down and decide what is the unifying principle that puts us together. And it will go beyond what language we speak. It will go beyond what culture we speak. And it will truly unify us. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. My name is Kenim, and see you next time. Peace. And guys, make sure you check out streamovg.com. You know, I make these political videos, and I make a lot more on there. You know, once a week it's like a Patreon. It's like my Patreon-like subscription service. You know, you go on there and you get more exclusive, more in-depth conversations than what you get even here on my socials. Anyway, see you next time. Peace.